What up, everybody? Welcome to Keeping It 9450, Codename WBB. I'm Daniel Artest. Got K.Dot in the building, live from the J.O. Busy. What up, bro? What's going on?
Hey, yo, what up? What it is? What's popping? You already know how we do it. Everything's all good. Just keeping everything kosher. It's been a while since the last time we recorded, so I can't wait to see what's going on, especially with the WNBA free agency. But yeah, we got a nice show for you guys, and let's get it popping.
Yeah, so basically, we're just going to talk about, we got to give Lopez Sénéchal her flowers real quick. And then after that, we're going to dive into the Las Vegas Aces and what they did, and also some hypotheticals for the New York Liberty. And yeah, we're just going to have a really good show. It's going to be fun. So let's just get right into it. K.Dot, we got to talk about Lopez Sénéchal from UConn, who just came out of nowhere this season. She went to Fairfield, did her thing, was the MAC Player of the Year in her conference, and then went over for her fifth year to UConn. And with the injuries that's going on with UConn, with the Paige Becker situation, AZ Fudd situation, they had to rely on her. And here she goes. She's doing her thing, averaging over 17 points, shooting a crazy split, 50-50-90 from the floor, bro. Crazy splits. Like, what's your initial thoughts on Lou Lopez?
Just looking at what Lopez Sénéchal has been doing for UConn, obviously with the injuries to AZ Fudd, and of course with the AC that happened with Paige Beckers back in the offseason, she's definitely been the go-to scorer, if you will, perimeter scorer for the Huskies, leading the team in scoring in nearly every game and showing why she belonged on the big stage. And I think that when she committed to UConn in April, she wasn't expected to take such a prominent role. But with everything that's been going on, and Gino Auriemma is playing like 7 people, and all the injury that's piled up, she's definitely stepped up and proved herself, and she's definitely proved to be an invaluable asset to our team.
Yeah, most definitely. And I know UConn won the other day. I forgot who they played, but I know they won. I know she struggled, but that game that she had on Thursday, though, against Tennessee, like, she was in her bag. I think UConn won 84-67. Lou Lopez had 26 points. She shot 11 for 16 from the field, 4 for 6 from 3. I think it was her 8th game with 4 or more three-pointers in the game. And she had a career high making 11 field goals overall. The way people was talking about her was like, all right, cool, then maybe this is just like a one-time thing, but she really been in her bag all season long. She scored in double figures in every single game. This is her second 20-point game in a row. Like, she's a special talent, one of those unsung, or what you would say, hoopers unhailed, a good player that didn't really have the recognition because of the school that she went to. So it's crazy to see how you come from a mid-major like Fairfield just to go to UConn, which has that crazy tradition-rich history, 11 championships, Gino Auriemma, and to really put yourself on the map like that. I just think that what she's doing is definitely invaluable, and you just wish that this UConn team was actually at full strength, because they would be scary. They would be scary because think about it. If UConn's at full strength, you got Paige Beckers and Fudd in the backcourt, and then probably Lou Lopez coming off the bench, which will probably have a nice, strong bench too as well. It's just really dope to see how she's come along, and it's going to help her going forward, especially with the WNBA draft coming up.
Yeah, and to add on to that, let's not forget about her leadership and attitude, right? Because
Yes.
she has been a true team player and always looking to set up her teammates and make the right play. So when it comes to that, I think that WNBA scouts need to pay attention to that, especially with such a perimeter-oriented system and league that the WNBA has almost shifted to. We've seen it last year, even with some of our prominent bigs that has gravitated to the perimeter, but have also shown that versatility is truly important. But just going back to her character, in addition for her making the right plays and being a leader on the floor, it's just her humility and her work ethic, right? That has earned the respect and admiration of her. It's the most important thing moving forward. They had I know she struggled this last game versus Villanova. You can kind of tell by her leadership and the way that she was able to gather up the troops, along with Nika, who was her backcourt teammate. They were able to figure out a way to win that game. And I think that Lou Lopez Sénéchal has definitely earned the right for scouts to actually look at her in this upcoming draft. And I think she will probably be, or has proven herself to be, one of those underdogs within the draft this year.
We were just sticking with the draft real quick with her. Like, with the draft approaching, like, what are your predictions for her future in the league? You think that she's going to get drafted into the WNBA? Like, what round would you have her in right now?
Right now, if I'm looking at it from a scout standpoint, I think that she's more so in that second round. And the only reason why you say that is because there's tons of talent that's coming out of that first round. And to me, she's not replacing any of that talent coming out of the first round. Now, she could be an early steal with a lot of these teams like Phoenix, like Dallas, like Connecticut, who will probably be looking for more shooting. And I think that from that perspective, even with the Liberty, to be honest with you, and also some perimeter defense, if you will, because we don't know what's going to happen still in free agency with Stewie. We still don't know what's going to happen with Sloot. And I personally believe that from a New York standpoint, not to out off the bench with Dee Richards, you still need a contrast, right? If Dee Richards is going to be your perimeter defender, you're going to need a shoot that's going to have Dee set up if she's going to be the point guard out there. So I think that Lopez Sénéchal is definitely in that second round range right now because, again, I don't compare to other players that are going to be coming out of the first round. She probably won't replace. She definitely has a chance to make a roster, my personal opinion.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody going to do the let's dig deep in the Barney bag and pull out Lexi Hall. I don't think that's going to happen in this draft because this draft is full of a lot of players. But yeah, can't wait to see more of Lou Lopez. She's a really dope player from France, and I just love the overseas style of play, fearless and especially them French players too. I'm big on Marine Johannes. So yeah, let's move on to the next subject. We got to talk about this real quick. Over the weekend, Candace Parker signs with the Las Vegas Aces. K.Dot, we had an idea that was going to happen because I made the shirts, had the shirts in published for a little minute, and now it's here. This is crazy. I got to ask you, what does the addition of Candace Parker mean for the Aces?
It means more versatility. And when you have a generational talent combination like Candace Parker, who is top five and not five now, even though she's five, I think in our, if I'm not mistaken, she's seven in our WNBA top 25, but moved up after her championship
Yes.
back in 2021. I really truly believe that when you have a talent like Candace Parker coming into it, just opens up a lot more for what Becky Hammond is able to add on to what her already impressive first season has been for the Las Vegas Aces. And when you talk about passing, cue, defensive acumen, and just overall feel for the game, there's no one other than Candace Parker that will be able to do that for you. And to have a two-time MVP and reigning defensive player of the year in Asia Wilson to accompany that talent in Candace Parker, who is also a defensive player of the year or former defensive player of the year, an MVP in her own right. I really do believe, in addition to that roster, I think it's going to be pretty scary for the WNBA. It's going to be real scary.
Yeah, it's going to be real scary. It's definitely going to be a lot of scary hours. They're about to get a little bit more versatile, and you got two great defensive players in her and Asia Wilson as well. I think that this is a huge move for the Aces, K.Dot. CP3 is a veteran superstar, dominant in the league for a lot of years. And the addition of her just immediately improves their offense, their defense, their experience, and everything. So, but we really didn't talk about the bench that much. So, in your opinion, what's your thoughts on how the Aces what can they do to even get better? We know that they're signing Alicia Clark and whatnot, but is there any more moves you would like to see to help the bench get even better? Get even better, like maybe a backup point guard or so?
I think that right now for the Aces, it's pretty evident that their bench is, to me, just about solidified. I really do believe that with the addition of Amanda Zawi, who they retained in the trade with Dearica Hamby, Alicia Clark definitely fits what the Aces are doing. And when it comes to maybe like backup point guard, right? I really think that the coming in certain lineups. Remember, Asia Shepherd will be in her second year, and they still, of course, on the bench is concerned, if you were to interchange a lot of that and not in a couple a bit of the offense, if you were to bring it, probably consider someone else coming in to give us some primary ball handling because we don't really know what's going to happen with Raquana Williams just yet. Hopefully she's able to stay, but that's one of those things that you have to think about if you're the Aces organization. So I really do truly believe that as of right now, I mean, if you want to continue to tinker with the lineups, yeah, fine. But I think they're pretty good, especially with that announcement last night with Alicia Clark committing to sign.
Yeah, that was a big pick. But I was like looking for maybe like Rebecca Gardner. We talked about on the phone yesterday. Remember, like we was going crazy over the phone during our pre-production show. Gabby Williams, Nia Cole. Like, yeah, I would like to see Lexi Brown there too as well to help at least bring that guard position up off the bench and everything. But the Las Vegas Aces they got it right getting Candace Parker. And we shall see how this thing is going to pan out. I'm expecting nothing less than a championship, though, to be honest. But K.Dot, like you said, what is it called? Death Row versus Bad Boy. We got to turn our attention to the Liberty, brother. They made a couple of moves already, getting Jonquel Jones and Kayla Thornton, but there are more ways they can improve. Hypothetically, Courtney Vandersloot is mentioned to make a decision on going to the Liberty. Breanna Stewart's heavily in these rumors of going to the Liberty and everything. So what's your thoughts? What's your hypotheticals on the Liberty?
So my hypotheticals on the Liberty is the obvious first choice will probably be still hypothetical would be the idea of Stewie still coming a perimeter defender. Either her or Mo, right? She had improved as by that of Ramon Stewie playing together at UConn. But I'm just really thinking about Jordan Canada at this point. If you are the Liberty, one thing that you lacked a lot was perimeter defense, and Crystal Dangerfield was able to do that for you. Now that Crystal Dangerfield has been traded, you still need that perimeter defender to help Sabrina Ionescu in that backcourt because we all know sometimes Sabrina, who is a willing defender, sometimes can get stuck in some of those cross matches on the high pick and roll. And we don't want that to happen. So you need another perimeter defender who starts. And I think Jordan Canada is more of the connection there because let's face it, Jordan Canada, she was with Stu in Seattle in 2020 and 2021. She also knows how Stewie likes to operate on the floor. And I also believe that Jordan Canada, think that she can find her shot in New York because there are so many people and so much gravity towards Jonquel Jones. Breanna Stewart think that Liberty would consider that scenario as opposed to bringing in Sloot because me personally, I really think that Benijah Laney is a pivotal point staying in New York. And if she stays in New York, that means getting someone like a Jordan Campbell, Mo Jefferson will complement you more as opposed to having Sloot. Because if you bring in Sloot, that means Point come into play because we all know Sloot might not play for that vet minimum, if you will. So I think that bringing in Jordan Canada will probably be better suit from a money standpoint. And also to me, I think it'll better suit from a lineup standpoint because you'll have that great lineup. I think that's what it is. What are your scenarios? What do you think about?
My scenarios, I can't even have scenarios because they're going to involve like signing trades, and I don't want a lot of these players to go. I don't want to get rid of because I do think that shooting is a premium, and what the Liberty needs, they're going to definitely need more shooting to open up the floor more. I would like to see a player like Mo Jefferson there or Jordan Canada because like we talked about it with Stewie being there and Vandersloot in the backcourt, they're going to be slow defensively. And that's what the Aces, their backcourt is going to have over them, is that they're quick, laterally, their feet quick, and they're going to cause a lot of problems. So I would like for them to definitely get a quicker guard to come off that bench and things like that. Kind of wish they didn't have to give up Crystal Dangerfield when you really think about it. So they could have the right there that can spell either one. That's why going forward, it's going to be tough to start it's going to be tough to start Sabrina and Vandersloot in the backcourt together because can't have two slow guards. So they're going to have to figure that out. Maybe hopefully Dee Richards is healthy and ready to roll, because they're going to definitely need her this year. It's going to be a big year for her, for both trying to win a championship and also for her career in the W right now. I think that if she has another injury-riddled season, it might be curtains for her. Unfortunately, I hope not. But just being honest, the WNBA is a cutthroat league, and they don't wait for nobody. So hopefully she can get better and get back to her form. She's a really great defensive player. And I hope that she gets right, because they're going to need her. They're going to need her. So I'm just looking for the liberty, honestly, to just the Aces to get that bench in order, get that roster balance on that.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah, I 100% agree with when it comes to that. I think WNBA free agency from a frenzy standpoint it's been good, right? It's been good for WNBA Twitter. It's been good for the WNBA period. I think that most importantly, you have to give credit to all of the insiders and all of the content creators and all of the newsbreakers, independent WNBA media that has been able to provide us all of this information for us to talk about. So I want to just quickly give a shout out to, of course, first and foremost, our sister, Christina Williams of Girls Talk Sports TV, who's always been at the forefront of breaking news and giving us what the people actually need in news reporting. I want to give a shout out to Rachel Galligan of Winsider and Just Women's Sports, who's also been at the forefront as well. And I also want to, and all of these other independent content creators and WNBA insiders that is very information, because I doesn't talk about it. So I do want to give a shout out to all of them.
Yeah, fact. Shout out to everybody that's covering. Shout out to all the independent media. They really go hard to bring us the information that a lot of these teams and a lot of these mainstream media won't allow us to have. Definitely want to extend our support towards them, towards Christina and everybody that's breaking news, doing anything. You know what, though, K.Dot? Like, when they be calling Christina the female Woj, I don't like that. I just think Christina's just Christina. Like, she do her thing and she's entrenched. Now, I can see if maybe Woj was to break news in the WNBA more often, then I could understand why you call her that right there. But this is just Christina Williams, WNBA and founder of Girl Talk Sports TV, and our friend. So I just think that I kind of don't like when you don't put her in that type of box. She's her own monster in this game, and it's scope to get to know a person like that. And shout out to everybody in the group chat too. Y'all know who y'all are. Shout out to everybody in the group chat. Sidecars on us, for real. Sidecars on us. That's the inside. They don't know what that one right there. That's the inside one right there. But yeah, like we was talking about it yesterday, and with this trade and with the hypothetical with what the Liberty is going to do, this is how I feel, man. And I said it to you, and I'm going to say it publicly. I would be surprised if Stewie signs back in Seattle. I would be surprised if Stewie signs somewhere else outside of New York. But at the same time, if New York don't get the prize of Breanna Stewart, they still got Jonquel Jones. So the Liberty still, they're not in trouble at all. They're going to be a contending team this year, with or without Stewie. But Stewie actually helps them get over that hump and get to that championship round and possibly win. So that's the thing. But when you really look at what the Aces got right now, like we just strictly talk about the Aces and what they got, it's gonna be real different over there in Sin City, bro. Because you got Candace Parker. Yeah, okay, cool. She's 36, 37 years old. Her career's on the downside right now, but her game ain't. She can still do it. So it's going to be a fun season, potentially. Hopefully, we get the good news of Stewie going to New York. But if not, though, honestly, I want to see Stewie go to a different city outside of Seattle. If she don't come to New York, I wouldn't mind her going to Minnesota. I'm not going to say Washington, because now you got the defensive monster over there, Brittany Sykes. Oh, it's going to be, hey, listen, Washington, bro. Let's talk about them real quick. I know we didn't put it in the notes because everything just happened yesterday, but let's talk about Washington real quick. They got Brittany Sykes, and like, go ahead. What's your thoughts on that?
So Brittany Sykes is very, very much interested in this particular deal, because with Alicia Clark now going to Vegas, you bring in another ball, you bring in another playmaker. A lot of people sleep on Brittany Sykes offensively, but I think that in Eric Tebow's system, Brittany Sykes will be able to flourish alongside Natasha Cloud. It's going to be very interesting to see, because I do feel like they still need more shooters. So we'll see what happens with Shatori Walker-Kimbrough. We'll see what happens with Rui Machida even. But I do truly believe that from a defensive standpoint, it's going to be very difficult for guards to to actually get their offensive bag going when you have Natasha Cloud and Brittany Sykes to have to worry about in that backcourt for Washington. And just from an offensive standpoint, yeah, I do feel there needs to be a little bit more offensive firepower. But at the same time, you can't sleep on how Brittany Sykes has been able to improve offensively in her bag. I feel like she's one of the consigliaries of the mid-range mafia game because she uses that mid-range. She used that mid-range a lot in LA. And I feel like from a playmaking standpoint, she is definitely just as good. She's improved on that a lot. She has point guard instincts as well, along with being a 2/3, because she can play the 3 as well. And I do believe that Brittany Sykes is going to be a pivotal part for Washington's success, and hopefully with a healthy Elena Deladon and another potential fit from an offensive standpoint, I think that Washington will be pretty good.
So just even with the addition of Brittany Sykes and then you got Ari Atkins, I just feel like it's going to be hard to score on this team. It's going to be hard to score on this Mystics team. So now this is where this come in now, because now that you got John Quell, so like a life without Stewie, if she doesn't come to New York, Washington will be an interesting team. I like Atlanta too as well. I do like Atlanta. I like that how they got Alicia Gray. I love it. I love it actually. A little interesting, K.Dot. So that's what I'm talking about. If you get Stewie, it really puts them over that hump, like where, all right, yeah, we're going to still worry about y'all, but at the end of the day, nah, not really. Because like I said, that perimeter, they're going to give them hell. I think the faster guards is going to give Sabrina hell. And then you got Brittany Sykes, who, like you just said, I'm watching her play EuroLeague. She improved her game as an offensive player. Remember, I was just like, hey, like teams need to let her be her. She is a basketball player. I don't think that she's the type of player that you got to put in a box and put in a system. I think that you just need to let her just do her thing. Because she doesn't, what I like to say, color outside the lines when it comes to her game. She stays in her pocket, but her pocket is not what I think that your average coach would like to have her in, because it's like a pocket, but it's like a pocket of freedom where she can score the way she can score in rhythm. She's going to defend. She's always going to do that. Just put the ball on her hand and just let her move. I would love to have her I would love to coach one of them WNBA teams and have her on, because I know exactly how to use her. I would just let her just roam and just do her thing, but because she's not going to get outside of it. But inside of it, she's extremely elite, bro. That's basketball talk. You know what I'm talking about. I know probably the listeners probably be like, what is he talking about? But you definitely know what I'm talking about when I speak on Brittany Sykes.
Absolutely. And again, I think that when you're looking at it just holistically, just from an overall basketball standpoint, the Washington Mystics is definitely a team that, you would have to worry about, especially in the East, if you will. I know we're not Eastern Conference, Western Conference in the WNBA, but that also begs the question of maybe with all of this dynamics coming in, maybe reconsidering going back to the Eastern Conference, Western Conference, because to me, I think it's death row versus bad boy, especially if Dewey ends up coming back to New York. I truly believe that you create that onus, you create that if you will, superstar, super team type rivalry, and hopefully it exceeds what the expectations are. But we still gotta wait for Stewie. Listen, Vegas is in win now mode, so they're not waiting for anybody. And more power to them for not waiting for anybody. They went on ahead and played their big joker. I've been saying it all weekend long. They played their big joker. They want to see who has the little joker, the deuce of diamond, or the deuce of spade. That's who they want to see, want to throw that hand out. And if somebody can throw that little joker out, hopefully it's the New York Liberty, then it's barbecue chicken for the rest of the league. That's all I got to say. But the question is, who has the little joker? Is it the Liberty? Is it the Seattle Storm? Who else can throw out a little joker? I don't know. I personally hope that it's the Liberty, but who has the little joker? Because
all the teams that she interviewed, all the teams that she linked up with, the Lynx and the Mystics, they have the little joker option too.
You might be right, but according to reports yesterday, Stewie has landed to either Seattle or New York. So that means one of them have the little joker. And my thing is, if Seattle has that little joker, you can't sleep on the possibility of Izzy Harrison coming to Seattle. You can't sleep on the possibility of them thinking about re-signing Tina Charles. Like, a super team is a super team to me, because Jewel Lloyd is still a star. So if you even add Sloot to the mix in Seattle, you have Sloot, you have Jewel, you have Stewie, you have the possibility of Izzy Harrison. Again, the possibility of Tina Charles actually resigning and saying, hold up, let me do this over and have a full season and have a training camp with Seattle. We have so many possibilities. Mercedes Russell is coming back. You still have Ezzy Megwador there. Like, it's so many possibilities in Seattle, so just don't sleep. That's all I'm saying. The question is, who has that little joker? Because, again, the big joker has already been played.
Yeah, it's going to come down to this. Does Stewie want to stay in comfort? She's want to be comfort. She's going to come to Seattle. She's just wanting to try new things, get her name out there. She's going to have to come to New York. And so it's going to be interesting. I don't want to talk about Seattle's been relatively quiet. We don't hear nothing coming out of Seattle. No, nothing. As a Liberty fan, y'all should be nervous. Everybody should just hold their breath until she writes this news. We tired of the emojis, though, too. K.Dot, you did bring it up that WNBA Twitter is just fed up with the emojis. Just make your announcement like that. But I also told you that, yeah, we all fed up and we all laying in wait. But once that announcement is made, then everything will go right back to normal again. Everything will go back to normal, brother.
Absolutely.
We just waiting, though. We just going to wait. We just patiently waiting. Patiently waiting, brother. Anything else you want to talk about before we bounce?
Nah, I think we pretty much covered a lot. And even with the Brittany Sykes signing and the potential Brittany Sykes signing, everything can't be written in stone until Wednesday. Everything is in principle right now. I think that what we've talked about overall is pretty dope. And again, I just want to make sure that a lot of our news breakers and our content creators and everybody within this space is able to be heard and be shouted out, because we cases where it's not, a lot of it doesn't happen. They don't get their credit. So I want to make sure that on our platform, everybody get their just due in what they report and how all of the situations from a reporting standpoint has occurred. Let's go ahead and amplify that. So that's all I want to say.
Definitely. Yo, all right, moving on to the college ranks. We're going to end the show anyway, but Ohio State went from number 2 to number 10. They just released the latest poll. South Carolina, number 1, obviously still. Big games coming up. They got 2 big games coming up. They got UConn coming in early February, and then mid-February, they got LSU. I'm hoping I'm at the LSU game. I know they're sold out. They got standing, whatever. General admissions, y'all going to see me in the bleeds. Hopefully me and K.Dot, we in the building for that one. We trying to see LSU. But I was like Ohio State, they was doing their thing, and then they just started tumbling. We shall see. But the top 5 right now is South Carolina, Stanford, LSU, Indiana, and UConn. Then the bottom 5 is Iowa at 6, Utah, Maryland, Notre Dame, and like I said, Ohio State. And yeah, but all I got to say, college basketball is looking really good, K.Dot. Outside of South Carolina just blowing teams out, it's still a lot of parity with everything. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this conference plays, stand up and everything. But as far as conference play, definitely looking at Angel Reese. I'm definitely circling that game against South Carolina on February 12th, because I think that is the game for Angel Reese to show out, to say, hey, listen, if I play how I'm supposed to play, I'm Player of the Year in that conference. I'm National Player of the Year as well. That's a big game. Angel Reese really just got to play. If we're being honest, Angel really just got to play about 8 games this year. The 6 games it takes to win the national championship, the conference tournament, and basically, I guess they play South Carolina twice, right?
Well, I don't know about this year. Now,
okay.
It could be a possibility that they do play twice. I haven't seen the schedule.
Okay,
I know for sure they play once in the regular season. But
she's got to show up.
They could potentially play twice. Play twice. Though.
She got to go up against. She got to show up against South Carolina. If they play South Carolina twice, then she got to show up twice against South Carolina. She got to show up in the SEC tournament, and she got to also show up in the NCAA tournament as well. To not really NCAA tournament, because I guess they have the national player rankings already voted up. I guess. Because they named it during the Final Four, just about. So she just got to show up versus those games, because there's still a lot of questions. We see it, and everybody's talking about the competition that she played against at the non-conference schedule part of the season. But she's doing her thing in the conference, so we cannot knock that. She's really been doing her thing, but I want to see her against the best of the best, to be honest. Also, another thing when UConn play against South Carolina, I also want to see the best against the best with Lopez Sénéchal against Brea Bill's defense. That's another measuring point as well for her going forward with her career, wanting to go to the NBA. I think that if she shows that she can have that solid game, I think that she might get a little first round sneaking, Kate. I really do. But she got to pass the test though. She got to pass the test because Breanna Bell having your best perimeter offensive player in shackles all season long. I have her in the lead as National Player of the Year for defense, National Defensive Player of the Year. Breanna Bell is something special. She has that professional basketball level defense right now in college. And I also feel like when she go to the W, I think that she's going to have a nice long career because she can hang her hat on one thing, and that's defense. She could definitely lock up, bro.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. All right, let's get on out of here. Thank you for listening to Keeping It 9450, Codename WBB. Don't forget to follow us at the 9450 on Twitter. Don't forget to follow K.Dot, K.Dot Lou 3H on Twitter. And don't forget to follow me, _Artest. Don't forget to follow the blog at The Artest Effect on Substack. Yo, K.Dot, what you got popping up with Chatting on Atlantic? We got anything coming up down the pipeline soon?
We'll have something coming down the pipeline soon. I got a few guests that are like pending, so just waiting to get the okay. But just look out for me on that for public with Chatting on Atlantic. A lot of dope content that Keeping It 9450 is going to have, especially with free agency continuing to move along. And just check us out everywhere we go. We get mad love. We appreciate everything, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing for you guys.
Yeah, exactly. Before we get out of here, another shout out. I want to give a shout out to Nicole Melness. Let's give a shout out to Nicole Melness, who's having a great season at Susan Wagner High School in Staten Island, averaging 43 points a game, bro. 13 rebounds and 8 assists. she's about to catch the 3,000 point mark. I think she's already the leading scorer in PSAL history, men and women. So that's Sebastian Telfair had that record. So I think that's the record that she took down. And yeah, shout outs to her. She's really doing her thing, and her team is 18-2, and looking forward for her too as well. I think that she's going to be a guest on Chatting on Atlantic as well with you. So we're definitely looking forward for that. That's going to be a fun episode. But yeah, like I said, thank you for listening to the show. We out of here. Love is love. Peace.
Peace out.